Her desperate whisper cut through the playground chatter like a knife. James Reynolds froze, his hand still extended toward his 5-year-old daughter Emma on the swing. The stranger stood so close he could smell her perfume, something floral and expensive that seemed at odds with the fear in her eyes. Before he could respond, she squeezed his arm and mouthed the word, "Please," with such genuine terror that his protective instincts flared instantly. If you're enjoying this emotional journey, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more heartfelt stories that explore the unexpected connections that change our lives forever. "There you are, honey," James said, his voice shifting into a warm, familiar tone as he slipped his arm around the woman's shoulders. "Emma's been asking when you'd join us." The lie came easily, surprising him. The woman's body relaxed against his, her smile now reaching her eyes as she played along. Across the park, a man in a dark jacket scowled, then turned and walked away. James felt the woman tremble against him. "Thank you," she breathed when the man disappeared from view. "I'm Sarah. I'm sorry for dragging you into this, but that's my ex. He's been following me for weeks." James nodded, understanding flooding through him. As a police detective before becoming a full-time dad after his wife's death 2 years ago, he'd seen domestic situations turn dangerous too many times. "I'm James. That's my daughter Emma. Are you safe going home?" Sarah's eyes welled with tears. "I don't know. He found out where I moved to." That evening, after helping Sarah file a proper police report with his former colleagues, James invited her for pizza with him and Emma. His daughter, always intuitive beyond her years, took an immediate liking to Sarah, showing her the collection of rocks she'd gathered at the park. "You're not like Daddy's other friends," Emma announced while arranging her pebbles in a pattern only she understood. "You don't talk to me like I'm a baby." Sarah laughed, her first genuine one that day. "That's because you're clearly not a baby. You're a geologist in training." James watched them interact, something unfamiliar tugging at his heart. Since losing Maria to cancer, he'd built walls around himself and Emma, their little world complete but insulated. Something about Sarah's vulnerability mixed with her obvious strength reminded him of his late wife. Over the following weeks, Sarah became a regular visitor. James helped her navigate the legal system to get a restraining order against her ex, who had become increasingly volatile after she left their emotionally abusive relationship. In return, Sarah brought laughter back into their home, teaching Emma to bake cookies that always turned out slightly lopsided but filled the house with warmth. "Why did you pick me that day in the park?" James asked one evening as they sat on his porch after Emma had gone to bed. Sarah studied her tea. "You looked safe," she said simply. "I watched you with Emma for almost an hour before I approached. You were patient and kind, even when she was frustrated learning to pump the swing herself. Most men would have just pushed her or taken over." James felt an unexpected swell of pride at her words. Their growing closeness faced its first real test when Sarah's ex violated the restraining order, showing up at her workplace. James rushed to her aid, his former police training kicking in as he de-escalated the situation until officers arrived. That night, Sarah wept in his arms. "I'm putting you and Emma in danger. Maybe I should move away, start over somewhere else." "Running doesn't solve problems, it just postpones them," James said softly. "Trust me, I tried to outrun grief after Maria died. It doesn't work." Their relationship deepened, but not without complications. Emma went through periods of jealousy, fearing Sarah would take her father's attention. James sometimes pulled away, guilt about moving on after Maria overwhelming him. Sarah had moments of independence fiercely reasserted after years of control. The turning point came nearly 6 months after that day in the park. Sarah's ex had finally been sentenced for stalking and harassment, providing closure to her ordeal. That same week, Emma had a mother-daughter event at school. "Will you come with me?" Emma asked Sarah over breakfast, casual as could be, as if the question wasn't monumental. Sarah looked to James, uncertainty clear on her face. "It's your choice, Emma," James said carefully. "And Sarah's too." "I would be honored," Sarah replied, her voice thick with emotion. Later, watching them leave together, Emma's small hand in Sarah's, James realized something profound. Family wasn't just about blood or legal bonds. It was built in moments of need, strengthened through trust, and sustained by choice. A year to the day after Sarah's desperate plea in the park, James took her back to that same spot. Emma raced ahead to the swings, now pumping like a pro. "You know," he said, taking Sarah's hand, "when you asked me to pretend to love you, I never imagined I'd end up actually falling in love with you." Sarah's eyes glistened. "I was just trying to escape someone who claimed to love me but never showed it. I never expected to find someone who showed love without having to say it." Under the same tree where they first met, James knelt down and proposed. Not just to Sarah, but later to Emma too, with a smaller ring, a promise that they were choosing to be a family, together. What began with fear ended with hope. What started as pretense became the most authentic connection any of them had ever known. And it all began with 7 desperate words spoken to a stranger in a park, words that changed the trajectory of 3 lives forever. Sometimes our greatest blessings arrive disguised as emergencies. Sometimes the family we choose becomes the love we always needed. Sometimes, life gives us second chances we never thought to ask for.